to join us at Cape Town Conversation 2025. I turn the stage over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Program Director, President Mbeki, the patron of the Thabo Mbeki Foundation, the former President of South Africa, His Excellency Honorable Kayode Fayemi, who I'm sure is busy with something, maybe not so political this time, as a former minister and former governor, and I trust that you have not left the political space completely. You'll still make your contribution in one way or the other. Our distinguished guests, our various panelists who have made presentations here, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. We gather at the third Cape Town Conversation at a moment that feels decidedly different, a moment where the tectonic plates of global geopolitics are shifting beneath our feet. Decades ago, the rallying call of our struggle here in South Africa for liberation was simply yet profound: the people shall govern. Today, as we look out at a fractured world, we must ask ourselves, does this maxim hold true for the global community? As we meet to write a new page in our continuing efforts to give meaning to governance, we must ensure that indeed the people shall govern. We must make sure that it is not just a slogan that might have been formed during the time of national liberation movements, but the founding principle of a new, just multilateralism. We convene here, having started yesterday, in the immediate aftermath of the G20. And those of us who are here would remember that we've not just been on the sidelines, but we've been part of a process. We've had conversations here where we're looking at what should be the agenda of South Africa, taking on from Indonesia, India, Brazil to here. And through our collective work, we ensured that what we had produced would inform a number of thematic areas that actually had finally culminated to a declaration that had been adopted in Johannesburg. So we can say we have been part of the process of influencing the agenda, we as the people. And therefore, the declaration that have been adopted should not just be seen as a diplomatic communique, but rather as a victory for the Global South. It represents the perfect culmination of 4 years of tireless coordinated work. We've witnessed a passing of the baton from Indonesia to India, India to Brazil, and Brazil to South Africa, that has sought to alter the global agenda. For 4 years, the developing world has held the pen. We've seen a shift away from the concerns of a few towards the needs of many. This continuity of leadership has forced issues of poverty, inequality, and development onto the center stage. It has proven that when Global South works in partnership, we're able to shape the global agenda. However, we must be cautious. We know that history is littered with noble declarations that have gathered dust in archives of global summits. This brings me to the central challenge facing us as parliamentarians and public representatives. Chinua Achebe, in his classic work, Things Fall Apart, warned us of what happens when societies lose their cohesion and agency. He wrote, I quote, "Warriors will fight scribes for the control of your institutions. Your land will yield less and less. You shall learn ways of cheating and you will poison the kola nuts. You serve your own friends. Yes, things will fall apart, close quote. To prevent things from falling apart in this new global order, we cannot leave the implementation of the G20 consensus solely to the scribes of diplomacy. The task of the Global South, and particularly of us, the public representatives, is to ensure that the progress made this weekend is not relegated to the pages of declarations. It must be made tangible. A declaration promises change, a budget funds it. A summit agrees on goals, legislation enforces them. Governments sign treaties, parliamentarians exercise oversight to ensure it is honored. If I may add, all of this cannot happen unless the people ensure that they don't lose their agency. We need a renewed commitment to partnership between international social partners. Through us, the representatives, the mass of our people must understand these global agreements. We must report back to our communities, ensuring they understand that the G20 is not just theoretical. It is about their jobs, their climate, and their food security. We must demand and legislate a fairer and a just world. For too long, globalization has been viewed as the domain of global elites, a game played in ivory towers, while the grassroots suffer the consequences of decisions made without them. Program Director and colleagues, part of the theme of the 22nd Congress of the Socialist International in 2003 was, I quote, "For globalization governed by the people," close quote. That must be our mandate today. We need a multilateralism of the people, by the people, and for the people. If the people do not feel the benefits of international cooperation in their daily lives, in the cost of bread, in the safety of their streets, in the opportunities for their children, then they will turn away from it. They will, as Achebe warned, I quote, "refuse to pick up the hoe and prefer to wander in the wilds," close quote. We must ensure that institutions of global governance, from the UN Security Council to the international financial institutions, are reformed not just to satisfy diplomats, but to serve the ordinary citizens of the Global South. As South Africa prepares to hand over, as they've done, I heard this afternoon, the mantle of the G20 presidency to the US, we must answer the question, what do we do next, particularly as this forum? How do we continue to engage the United States as it takes over the chairship to make sure that the issues that have been raised by the Global South are not lost? And for us as legislators, we need to allocate resources. We hold the power to account. We possess the resilience described by the poet William Henley in Invictus, a poem that speaks to the spirit of our continent and our determination to rise. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishment the scroll. I'm the master of my fate. I'm the captain of my soul. Let us be the captains of our collective soul. Let us take the consensus of the weekend and forge it into the laws of tomorrow. Let us ensure that in this century, finally, the people shall govern. I want to indicate that reflecting on the sessions that I've just listened to, Mr. President and honorable guests, indeed, it deals with very important issues that touches the lives of the people, to see how best we can use our knowledge, our expertise, our agency to make sure that indeed we produce the just world that we want. But if I may be critical a little bit to the organizers, it says Cape Town Conversations. Conversations is about having a dialogue, an exchange of ideas. One of the things I would propose, if I may, that next year's conversation, the agenda must be short. so that it allows us enough time for a conversation. I know how the program directors were struggling to manage the time by giving specified time to presenters to make their presentation, and at the end, feeling very guilty to say, "Yeah, we can have some, maybe 2 or 3. And the people behaved. They didn't toy. They just quietly said, "I wish I had a moment." And 2 days, I'm sure, if we were to choose only 6 panels, so that we can have enough time. Because the value of the discussions we've had would be enriched if we are able, the majority of us, to influence that agenda. By the time we go home, we will feel, indeed, we've had a conversation. I looked at your agenda, that there's a panel that starts at 21 hours. I was told that they are young people. But I said, even those young people's brains need a break to be able to ensure that indeed they can bring their energy and their expertise. Here in Cape Town, I'm sure some of you have been looking at the beach and thinking, when will I get time to go there? So managing the time, maybe we need to add another day, 3 days, so that we finish at least by 4 p.m. and allow a little bit of time to stretch a bit and start the next day. But otherwise, I have had a good moment being with you, building on the conversation that you had last time, which has had an impact not only in terms of the government track, but also in the P20, the Speaker Summit that was held here in Cape Town in September, where we took some of the ideas that you shared with us in the beginning of the year. I'm sure as you continue, you will have the same spirit that you have had when you started yesterday, to make sure that this conversation becomes a lived reality in shaping the world that we want, and ensuring that the voice of the people of the South continue to reverberate globally. I thank you.